It's the Weekly Wrap with your host, broadcasting legend Bruce Wolf, and his trusty sidekick, comedian timslagle. And now, without further ado, Bruce Wolf.
Bruce Wolf, timslagle on the Weekly Wrap, and it's my favorite part of the show, wherein I guess what is in Tim's background today. I'm going to think that you just got a whole carton of menthol cigarettes or something, some kind of display there, because Joe Biden, fearful that he's going to lose any of the black vote, and he needs every black vote he can get, and and he wanted to cut back on the make it more difficult to get menthol cigarettes. Now has forgotten about that temporarily.
I don't know what you're saying about the black vote there, Bruce.
Yeah, so I'm saying menthol cigarettes. I'm saying there's going to be 8 menthol cigarettes, one for each night of Hanukah. What is it, Tim? Is that what's in your background?
You're close. I'm in Williamsburg, Virginia, and it's coming down.
Oh, I was pretty close. It's
coming down before the first light is lit.
Yeah. Well, we will get to that, because I know we've slated our Jew segment for the next segment, but well, I don't want to look like I'm biased or anything, because I am. There's no question about it. But I actually thought we'd begin by talking about this incongruity. There are those who believe that Donald Trump will be the end of civilization as we know it. But then there are those, and just as many, who believe that he's so incompetent that he won't be able to accomplish anything. And sometimes it's the same people. And how do you live with that contradiction? Because either he's going to be able to do it or he isn't going to be able to do it. timslagle.
Ironically, I just heard the same thing said about Joe Biden. Is that Joe Biden supporters are saying, how can you people say that the man is senile and the head of a crime family at the same time? And it's
well, that I can actually reconcile a little bit. I memean, first of all, you could be the head of the crime family, and it's already been set in motion. It's like the deists believe that God started the whole thing and then sat back in his rocking chair for the rest of eternity. They got it.
Al Capone lost his mind in prison. A victim of syphilis.
Yeah, so. Right. Man, by that time, I gotta think that Peanuts Pansco or somebody else was running thing. Bugsy Siegel, Mo Green, somebody. But anyway, so that's it. Then Trump has said some crazy things lately. I've been a little bit out of the loop the last few days, but I think he joked around with Hannity that he wanted to be dictator for a day, and that drives people crazy. He's going to be a dictator, and then he won't say that it's a joke either. So he keeps playing the whole thing.
Doesn't have to, because we know it is. I mean, that's the tremendous thing about the Trump method, is that he says something hilarious, we die laughing, and the media goes apoplectic over it.
And they're looking for
he said, I'm going to be a dictator for one day.
Yeah, right.
And we know he's joking. But the left is like,
dictators.
Trump finally admits. Trump finally admits that he's going to be a dictator. And what happens is, because they that, it gets all around. Everyone sees it, and it attracts more people that get the joke.
Yeah, there are certain policies that sound like they would scare me, but I never think that he'll be able to execute them anyway. So
which one?
Maybe. Oh, I can't remember right now. Test me at it, of course. I think he would choose to close the border on everybody, including the immigrants that we want. But anyway, that would be just one. I
always thought that would be a good idea. I think that everybody should be pulled out of the country on their 18th birthday and have to figure out a way back in.
Oh, that is a great idea. Well, it's like my hero, William F. Buckley Jr., said that everybody should take. We didn't want to mandate it by the state, but he wanted everybody to at least take a year off after high school and go work. And he was nobody who believed in great state action, but go work in the Peace Corps or do something, but stop, and think about what you're doing. So that's not quite as draconian as leaving the country and trying to get back in, but although I do like your idea. That's it. Why should birth confer citizenship on somebody.
Yeah.
Right. You should earn your way back, at least be able to pass a citizenship test.
Yeah, a constitution test. That's the important one.
Yeah.
I want every citizen within a generation, every citizen will know the Constitution.
Right. Instead of giving it to us in like 8th grade and in high school, no, you want to get back in, you want to work, you got to understand the Constitution of the United States. I love that. All right. Well. Speaking of Israel, so what happened in Congress yesterday? What you had these presidents of the universities who actually stepped in it, and they're going to get fired. I think they're really going to get fired. Is this wishful thinking on my part? But it looks like the University of Pennsylvania named McGill, or is it the University of McGill named Penn? I forget.
I think there were probably several calls to attorneys today. And the statement that was heard most often is, "You mean presidents don't have tenure?"
Exactly. Well, one of I read that the former president of Penn, they get this balloon payment, or they get or something, where once they're done being the president, they get like $23 million coming to them over a certain time period, I guess. But yeah, it's a great gig, and you don't want to blow it. And it looks like the current president of Penn, named McGill, actually had to come out with a statement where she tried to qualify what she said yesterday, and it didn't work. But basically, what they said was despite the fact that we're at universities and we have things like fat shaming is illegal, it's okay to say that the Jews are genocidal maniacs. Okay, I get it. It's hard to reconcile those two things.
No, I heard it was even worse, is that they said that there's nothing wrong with supporting a genocide on campus as long as you don't start one.
Right. Exactly. You're right. No.
I think would violate the dormitory policies.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's constitutional, but it doesn't abide by the dorm policy. And the dorm policy, they enforce up the wazoo. But yeah, so she's backtracking because she wants to keep her job. And then you got like the president of Harvard. We've talked about her before. We keep referring to her as Claudine Lange in the hopes that she gets shot by Spider Savage, whatever. But her name is Claudine Gay, and apparently she's like in her entire life in academia has published something like 11 articles, whatever. Which is a paltry sum. And she's just risen through the ranks. I guess it's what is that? The Peter Principle. You rise to your level of incompetence. But it's all been affirmative action that's gotten her up through the ranks, through professor of government, professor of African and African American studies, the Wilbur A. Cowett professor of government, the dean of social science. So she climbs all the way to the top.
Does she have double intersectionality? Because she's obviously African American, but I mean, did she get? Is she one of the alphabets too?
I think she may very well be. And
it looks pretty fluid.
Yeah, right. It reminds me. It sounds like the president of Harvard is basically the Ivy League's version of this woman named Ayanna Crystal. Local angle here. She was on the local like sports channel or NBC Sports Chicago, whatever it was called at the time. Black woman, gigantic breasts, okay, and very attractive, but highly incompetent. And one time, these sports guys who consider themselves woke, by the way, Dan Bernstein and Matt Spiegel, Dan Bernstein especially, of The Score, went on Twitter. And
hard to be woke when there's a couple of gigantic breasts staring you in the face.
I'll tell you. Yeah, well, because you put a little dot in the O on woke. And I mean, so what they did was they had a Twitter exchange in which they were talking about, oh, I have no rooting interest in her qualities as a sportscaster, but boobs, so and it was really funny. It reminded me at the time of that they were pondering her like a modern day Professor Henry Higgins and Professor Pickering pondering Liza Doolittle, only in a bourgeoisie manner, pardon my Mencken. And they took a lot of heat for that, but basically it's the same thing. This woman had been a Fulbright scholar at Georgia or something. She got that, because it was affirmative action, and she rose through the ranks. I mean, we see it all the time, and finally she got to the point where she couldn't conduct an interview or summarize a game, or couldn't even make the stuff up like as we find out these sideline reporters do all the time now, or whatever. But it's just, I mean, it's just, it's as a Jew and as a conservative Jew, I am really proud that this whole thing is blowing up right now. The whole of affirmative action, politically correct wokeness is just exploding because you can't apply it to Jews for some reason. Jews are exempt; they don't get the protection. You can root for genocide against the Jews. I just love that the whole thing's blowing up right now. As long as nobody gets hurt,
going down like the Hindenburg.
I hope so. All right. Anyway, we got a lot more to. Well, can we hit anything else? Oh, so hey, the Stones are going to be touring next year. They're coming to Chicago. They've also decided they're going to make a stop in Israel, apparently. So, hey, thank you. Thank you, Mick Jagger. What did he say? All I can say is anything worth doing is worth overdoing. So we decided to add a concert in Israel. So way to go. Way to go, Mick. May you I think they should give him an honorary bar mitzvah at the age of 81. I was trying to think of a song that we could parody that would
Yeah, that's a show prep we should have done.
Yeah, we should have done it. We should have done it. Give me a shtetl. Give me a shtetl. Yeah. Bruce Wolf and Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap.
Wait, I got to I got a follow-up question. You brought up Jacksonville, Florida, compared to San Francisco is 126% higher. Governor, let me bring up. It's 84%. The next question dovetails into this. It's 75% higher. What? Let me also say, what are you talking about? You're just jabbering. I know you like to jabber. By the way, those are all easily facts. I know you like to lie. Anytime you're uncomfortable, he put the statistics up.
Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. Yeah, I know this is like, ancient history because there was another debate just last night from time we're recording this. But yeah, I love the brazenness of Newsome. It just flat out will make up stuff about California.
Could he have looked any greasier?
I mean, God. Very attractive guy. Can lie to your face.
I was pretty sure that the Desantis was going to be driving off the lot with a used car by the time that one was over.
No, actually, and I did not watch the debate last night with the four candidates, but my favorite line is when Desantis said that Calvin Coolidge was his favorite president. So, which I can't argue with. You know the old Calvin Coolidge joke, right? I'm sure you do. He's in a restaurant and somebody comes up to him and says, Mr. President, I don't want to bother you, but I bet my dinner partner over there that I can make you say, because, he was notorious for being silent Cal. I can make you say 3 words. And Coolidge looked back at him and said, you lose. So anyway, that was, but he was a pretty darn good president, but didn't get much credit for it. But
the good ones never do they?
Yeah. Did you watch any of that? I didn't see.
I didn't watch last night. That one, I'm tired of those already. The actual Republican debates. I did watch. I mean, they don't matter. I did watch the DeSantis Newsome because that was
okay.
I wondered how Newsome was going to defend his record. I wanted
you make it up. You make it up.
Yeah, he did.
That's the best way.
And Hannity would present him with facts, and he would ignore the facts and continue. It was astounding.
Yeah,
it was a great example of how a debate would run if we actually had an unbiased moderator.
No, and
if the moderators weren't all in the tank for the Democrats.
Right. Well, I mean. And Hannity had like graphics which showed things, and if it's a graphic, it's like written in stone. And Newsome would
can't fake a graphic.
Newsome would ignore that too. So it was good. I mean, that's what you got to do. Yeah, deny. I mean, he's. I mean, for the material that he has to work with, he's very good, Newsome. But yeah, that's.
I think
legacy.
DeSantis. beyond being the poor guy, I don't think he's ever going to be president. He just does not seem presidential.
Yeah,
he's a great governor. Great
not
governor,
even in 28. Not
I don't know. I don't know.
All right,
maybe he'll grow a Romney. I have no idea.
All right,
but he has to be beside what he did for Florida, all the wonderful things he did for Florida. He has to be commended for ending the presidential campaign of Gavin Newsom.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's interesting. It's interesting because there's still the possibility that Biden won't run. So,
a possibility?
Well,
I think it's an inevitability.
Oh, you think he's not going to run?
Yeah, he's going to have to. The impeachment hearing is getting too close.
Oh,
to
I
the
don't. You think
Oval
it's
Office.
going to be the impeachment hearing that does him in? I thought it was going to be the fact that he ran out of Geritol. Well,
it wasn't Geritol that they left in that locker in the White House.
Oh no,
that wasn't a little baggie of Geritol.
No, what's in this little baggie has twice the iron that you find in a pound of calf's liver, as Ted Mack used to say about Geritol. So yeah,
do you know what I read this somewhere, and I think this is fascinating because if you watch the debate, everyone said Hannity said it after 90 minutes. He said, "Okay, we're going to be back. We're going to wrap this up after this."
Oh yeah,
and then a lot of people didn't watch till that point, but he said we'll be back after this break with more, and they came back and they were doing the wrap up. It was commentators talking about how it went. So a lot
because
of people
because Newsom's wife grabbed him and took him away.
Exactly.
I'm going to protect my honey.
Exactly. Is it Newsome?
Right. We're going to the French Laundry. We're going to.
In Newsom's head, he's going, I'm killing it. And his wife is going, I have to get him out of here.
No, she's throwing in the towel. She's Angelo Dundee. It's over. It's over. It's all over. No, I get it. No, totally. And
I'm sure the ride home was, no, honey, you did great. No, you mopped the floor with him, Gavin, sweetie.
Yeah. Well, so who would be? I mean, it's not going to be Kamala. There's one that I'm just totally afraid of, and I think there's one and only one, and it'll be the fourth term of Obama. Yeah, there she is. That was like in the 1950s. They were accused of the advertising in movie theaters. They flashed like for a millisecond on the screen some popcorn, and it caused people to run to the concession stand to get popcorn. It was subliminal advertising, whatever. I mean, we flashed that thing of Michelle Obama so quickly that you'd have to freeze frame it.
You can show it, Chris. I'm not worried about bookers watching the podcast this far.
Okay. Oh, right. They just start the podcast and then they quit.
Yeah, they're just going to click on my social media to see what.
No, can I talk about this little?
Yeah, you can talk about it. Sure.
So I mean, it's Tim came up with this. It's Michelle Obama, and I must say she looks fetching. She looks attractive, and she's got this is reminiscent. When she had the hashtag bring back our girls from Nigeria. What was it, the soccer team back then or something that they were being
like that? I can't
being held captive or something. Because she cared about girls and women.
They were abducted by the Martians or something.
Yeah,
Mars needed women.
Apparently, I mean, I haven't been keeping track of this in my Jew tracker, but apparently. She hasn't really spoken out about all the rapes and the killings of women in Israel.
Even the hostage taking,
of course. And so Tim came up with this hashtag, or maybe you should even have a little game of tic-tac-toe in that hashtag. It says, I don't care about Jews, and Michelle Obama holding it. So look, I mean, sure, she's trying to form some opinions now. It takes a little while. It's only been, she might be asking for a continuance from the Hague, she hasn't voiced her opinion, and we're all waiting for her pronouncement.
The word is several people have approached her and asked her for a statement, and
she's saying nothing.
She's ignored the requests.
Interesting. Well, she's probably trying to get in line to be the president of Harvard, I guess. So, Anyway, we
have to start sleeping with women first.
So we a few people left us in the last week or so. One was Sandra Day. This is called Bruce's Death Report. Okay. Sandra Day O'Connor.
We need a slate for that. We need a music, a little da da da.
Yeah.
It's now, Bruce's Death Report.
John Riggins, good old number 44 of then the Redskins, the Commanders, nay Redskins. One time, I guess, was at some function with Sandra Day O'Connor and thought she needed to liven up and said, "Hey, Sandy baby," called her Sandy baby, which that's probably the most famous remembrance of her. Of course, I believe that the character Chit Chat referred to her as Handy Dandy Sandy O'Connor. So but she stood in it's apropos to talk about her right now because she's probably the one who, well, she definitely is the one who said that we needed affirmative action for another 25 years. And so finally,
does the clock run out on that? The clock's run out.
The Supreme Court reversed, affirmative action just a few months ago, but I don't know if that went to the full 25. But yeah, so that's Sandra Day O'Connor. Also dying was Henry Kissinger,
who was also referred to as Sandy baby.
Yeah, and he, all I care about, there's a picture of him staring down the cleavage of some star at the time, and of course he did go out with Jill St. John, so that's why he was aces in my book. He had a mixed legacy in diplomacy. Just kept believing that you just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth. You finally strike a deal. Of course, he did get the Nobel Peace Prize along with Lee Ducteau, I believe, in '73 for bringing an end to the Vietnam War, which, of course, then we totally lost. So the
meme I saw going around, I think it's James Bodine. Is that right? Is that the chef? I don't know. I got the name right, but he apparently said that anyone who's been to Cambodia cannot be overtaken by a desire to beat Henry Kissinger to death with their bare hands.
Okay, all right. So there we go. So we'll leave Kissinger for a second, and also Norman Lear died. The pioneer and all the
second greatest plagiarist of all time.
Oh, who did he plagiarize from?
A show called Till Death Do Us Part.
Oh, it's a
BBC
All in the
show.
Family?
Yeah, back then before we had satellite and you couldn't see BBC shows, no one knew that Norman Lear didn't come up with this idea on his own.
Okay, I mean, it's the idea, but it's, Shakespeare didn't come up with his own plots either. I mean, do you credit him with any genius whatsoever?
No.
None.
It's Steptoe and Son. Steptoe and Son was also
okay.
One that he
all
took.
Right.
And then you look at all his original stuff, except for the spin-offs, his career is a little shallow.
My hero, William F. Buckley Jr. once said, the reason All in the Family ultimately failed after it was on for about 9 years was that by 1979, Archie Bunker was the only person in the world who hadn't heard of Archie Bunker. So he had you couldn't say the things that you used to say about certain people eat it, certain people. But all right, well, we'll talk about Rob Reiner's belief that we did this last week, that there were 4 assassins of President Kennedy, if we want to close the loop on that. Bruce Wolf and Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap.
Actor Bill Shatner blaming, quote, stupid human beings for climate change. That's pretty strong stuff, Ash. What else did he have to say? Oh, he had plenty to say. The man who spent years on television as Captain Kirk exploring new planets says we're all going to die on this one if we don't wake up to the consequences of climate change. Shatner appeared on a UK morning show urging King Charles to use his voice to sound the warning at the climate conference in Dubai.
Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on a Weekly Wrap. And, that Shatner's always been an alarmist. Yeah, ever since the Twilight Zone episode. There's something on the plane. What? I thought he was one of us. He's some guy. He's like a geriatric Greta Thunberg. I mean, what?
He got a little weird after he went out into space, if you remember.
Oh, okay.
He came back. He came back in tears.
Okay.
Saying that we only have one planet and there's nothing else. There's nothing else beyond. So
I see. So big story now. What's going to happen to George Santos now that he's been expelled from Congress? I thought that he would get a job at Channel 32 because they hired Dan Rostenkowski after he went to prison, I think. So as a political analyst. So, but sources, according to Mediate, sources at Fox News, CNN, and MSNBC, they have no interest in hiring Santos, the disgraced former congressman. No, I mean, if he would have to get in line behind Rod Blagojevich, who's saying, "Where's mine?"
Well, wouldn't it be funny? Wouldn't it be funny if Santos gets exonerated from everything he's accused?
Oh, that would absolutely be funny. Now we've got to give credit to. I'm telling you, I hate to admit it, but we're talking about who could be the president of the United States. Who you were afraid of Michelle Obama stepping in because looks like Newsome talked his way out of it last week in the debate with Desantis, and Biden is getting lamer and lamer. I got to tell you, I never thought I would say this, but I think, speaking of brain dead, Senator Fetterman. This guy has got it together ever since he put that learned how to dress for Congress for the Senate. But
it's the second time you've agreed with him.
Well, so he got Santos to do a little bit of shticklock to try to oust Menendez from the Senate, which, I mean, it only stands to reason that he should. But that was funny. That was a great bit. I don't know if you saw that. Did you see?
I missed it.
Yeah.
I just knew that that Fetterman's been saying that Menendez has to go if Santos left.
Yeah, but
that upsets the balance in the Senate. We don't care that we're just going to have a 1-seat majority in the House after first of the year.
That's okay. A guy who's been paralyzed, can't conjugate a verb, whatever. He's making a life. He's pro-Israel. He wants to get rid of Menendez. Yeah, there have been worse guys in the U.S. Senate. I'm wondering if Mehmet Oz had won, how pro-Israel he'd be, and he certainly wouldn't be leading the charge against Menendez. So, kudos, as Michael Jordan would have said, to Fetterman on that. Now, refresh my recollection here. What is the latest on Hunter? Oh, the Democrats were trying to spin this, that all that the Republicans caught was that somebody was paying for about 4 car payments that that the Hunter was behind, like $13.80 or something like that a month for 4 months. There's more to it than that, isn't there?
Well, that's all the more direct deposits that were made into Joe Biden's account from one of Hunter's corporations. It was like 4 $1,300 payments. So I mean, that's all they had. Apparently the laundering was so good that that's all they've been able to find so far. But Hunter has until December 13th to show up for a deposition. Or they're going to
for Congress, and of course they made a big political football over that too. That he said he wanted to do it, in open court, or
because
the public in Congress. But the thing is that they, eventually they might do that anyway, and it's just posturing anyway.
And nothing ever happens. You get 5-minute-long questions,
right? It's not even the
yes or no answers.
Well, first of all, they don't even ask questions. They orate for about 4.5 minutes, and then throw a question mark at the end of it. No, that's not the way of quizzing anybody.
No, they say if he doesn't show up by the 13th of December, that they're going to arrest him. Now, I don't know how they're going to do that. I don't know. Are they going to engage the U.S. Marshals? How can Congress?
Anyway,
slap the cuffs on him?
I'll tell you this much: the political damage has been done. I mean, I guess you could do worse. You can entirely, detonate Biden, but the damage has been done. The American public believes that he's corrupt, and that's an advantage that he had on Trump. So, the guy who's got 91 indictments, supposedly that was Biden, he's going to return us to whatever normalcy that we had. But the public believes that, that he was on the take and from our enemies. So,
91 indictments for taking work papers home,
right.
for telling people to protest peaceably.
At the very least, they cancel each other out. So it's no advantage to the Democrats on that. All right. So there was this word of the year. It's called Rizz, R-I-Z-Z. It was named the word of the year. And I'm so lazy, or I don't really care, because the dictionary that I have, I don't believe even has the word astronaut in it. I mean, that's how old that dictionary is. But tell me, the word of the year is Rizz. Do you know what Rizz means?
I have no idea.
Okay,
it sounds almost dirty.
Well, here's the thing. All right. Well, I mean, I love live podcasts on tape. I'm going to look up the word Rizz right now. It doesn't stand for Anthony Rizzuto of the 2016 Cubs. Rizz is short for charisma. Comes from black culture, as most American neologisms do. But neologisms do. But do most portmanteaus come from black culture? Smog doesn't. Smoke and fog doesn't come from black culture. Do most neologisms come from black culture? I don't know about that, but anyway,
there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them that I don't know if are in the dictionary. Is bougie in the dictionary?
What's bougie? Another word for spitting game, or how good you are with pulling and sustaining biatches. Okay.
Bougie is shortening of bourgeoisie.
Oh,
and it means
okay.
So if I'm dating this bougie girl,
so I would read it as boogie.
No, it's bougie. It's a different word. So
yeah. All right. So Rizz is short for charisma. The problem with all the new words is that a lot of them don't last, and so they're just hanging out up there for a long time. Actually, I think the word of the year, and you kind of hinted at it before, made an allusion to it, should be jizz. And the reason that is I saw my friend Carol Roth. She does this little bit on Twitter. On what occasion do you wear this outfit? And it's usually some freakazoid outfit. This time it was a variation on her theme. On what occasion do you wear something from here? And she shows a shop in a mall that is called Jizz Fashion. And my response to that would be, on what occasion do you wear something from there, from Jizz Fashion? I would say prom, probably, right? So
I noticed they're showing the racks. There's no blue dresses.
There you go. So as far as I'm concerned, that is a word that is the word of every year, not just the word it's going to last for a short time, like Rizz. All right. So
that's one of those words that when we were kids tried to find in the dictionary when we went to the library.
Oh, yeah. But they ripped that page out. They used to rip the centerfolds out of Esquire. Forget about Playboy, huh?
And National used to rip the centerfolds out of National Geographic as well.
So to backtrack just a little bit a year, we would be remiss if we didn't recognize Channel 9's Teacher of the Month, which was this Palestinian woman. She's born in the United States, but she's Palestinian descent. She's supposedly a great teacher, whatever. But you could tell that they did the whole bit. There's a rebuttable presumption they did this bit. Mrs. Shatha Oda from Oak Lawn Community High School is WGN's November Teacher of the Month and a child of Palestinian refugees. She says she's reminded herself why she loves teaching and why education is paramount. Wonderful. Channel 9, they have that morning show on Channel 9, highly irreverent. You think somebody from that irreverent show would just say, hey, Teach, what do you think of the hostages that Hamas took? I'm just like, wouldn't that be relevant to asking the? No, they didn't do that. They didn't do that, Channel 9. No.
Do you want to define genocide?
Yeah, right. Yeah, sure.
Minnesota.
How many syllables, teacher? Huh? Can you spell it? Is it a long I? Okay. Yeah, no. Channel 9. Well, they're one of those that they'll regurgitate AP stories like the story about Williamsburg canceling Hanukah, which is the subject of the menorah in your background today, taking down, because it's too controversial to celebrate Hanukah. But they'll regurgitate and the AP won't even. I'm at this point.
When does Ramadan start?
Well,
I have no idea.
Wherever, in Williamsburg, you can be sure they'll be celebrating it. But
well, of course, there's no right time to celebrate starving Muslims, is there?
I guess not. So the story was from the Virginia Gazette. How Hanukkah celebration at Williamsburg Festival canceled due to Israel-Hamas conflict. Right. It's just that's the way.
Well, I guarantee those centuries from now that October 7th will be a Jewish holiday.
Could very.
Isn't that pretty much the center of every Jewish holiday? They tried
a lot
to
of
kill
it,
us.
and this
they
day
failed.
We got destroyed. And what's Hanukkah? The Hanukkah is the Maccabees, fighting against all odds, keeping the oil going for 8 days. Oh, we're running out of oil in this segment, Tim. So Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap.
And Rob Macklin, one, you should be here right now with your squad. Two, your team about to go down in North Carolina. Let's go! USA!
Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. Yeah, another great moment for women's soccer. The women's national team losing to a bunch of, some of the guys weren't that old, but some of them were in their 50s. Some of them were younger than Bobby Riggs. 12-0, lost the game. And
12 points in a soccer game.
Oh, yeah.
That's a 12 points. That's like a WNBA score.
Yeah, no, right. Yes, it's a lot of goals for the men.
They didn't even finish it, did they? They said this is getting ridiculous. Let's just quit. They had Mrs. Newsome stop the game.
right. Well, then the men, with a little noblesse oblige against the women's national team, congratulated the goalie for just a wonderful job against the assault. So, speaking of sports. You're not a golfer, are you? For somebody like me, they're actually going to make the golf balls go a shorter distance because the men hit it like 350 yards on their tee shots, and they're absolutely destroying all these golf courses. They're turning the game into a joke. But that's about 5 guys in the world who can do that. The rest of us who actually play the game want the golf balls to go as far as possible. So it's
So let me get this. So so rather than having the women's tees, they're just going to have women's balls.
That's what seriously, because it's like people like me are going to have to play from the women's tees, and we still like to think of ourselves as mess around with golf ball sized hail. Make it as little as a pebble right now. But not an actual golf ball. Don't do that to me.
So how are they going to do this? How are they going to make the golf balls?
Oh, whatever they put in there.
So it's they won't put sawdust in them or something. They're going to be
instead of the kryptonite, whatever
like hacky sacks. You're going to be.
Yeah, it's not a good idea. It's going to be ushered in like by 2028. I can't think that far. We're talking about Michelle Obama's second term at that point. So
speaking of balls.
Yeah. So, hi-oh. So did you see where Peyton Manning is going to be shilling for Bud Light? This is their last chance. Because Peyton Manning has something like a 69% popularity, positive recognition in the focus groups, Q rating, whatever it's called. Not LGBTQ rating, but he's very popular.
The MMA sponsorship didn't work.
Well, maybe they're working in conjunction with that, but Peyton Manning is going to team up with Bud Light. So this has got to be the last ditch effort. This is the Hail Mary pass for Bud Light. Yeah. No, It's
what would Bud Light do? They would usually their new campaigns they would usually debut at the Super Bowl, right? Isn't
well,
that
apparently
where
they're going to have some Super Bowl
Dilly
ticket.
Dilly?
Yeah. Oh, Dilly Dilly. Wasn't it? Remember Dilly Dilly?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Now it's Dilly Dildo or something. It's just all. I mean, it's horrible. Dilly Dilly. That was a catchphrase that everybody loved. They should just bring that back and just say we're erasing. Forget about recent history. We're going back to our imaginary Middle Ages of Dilly Dilly. Yeah.
It's well actually, yeah, that's what I thought. I thought that they should have like a real bad like go way back into the Bud Light history. I think when they did the women's swim team, was that Bud Light that did that, where it was the East German swim team, and it was a bunch of like a bunch of Dom DeLuise looking guys
there we go,
dressed like women. And
Chris is reminding me of What's Up. So that
was also Bud Light. Was that also?
I think so.
And Spuds McKenzie was also Bud Light too.
Yeah. I mean, look, I would borrow. Maybe you can borrow from other campaigns. Maybe Miller Lite. Tastes great, less filling. Whatever. We're going to take it all.
No, but I'm thinking bring back all the Bud Light commercials and put them all into one. And then at the last minute, the king sees a man dressed like a woman come in the court and goes, "Who thought if this was a good idea?
Off with your head."
Exactly.
Yes. And I think we just saved them, $45 million in coming up with this campaign. Speaking of bringing back things. The McRib apparently being brought back. I saw a tweet by my old broadcasting pal, Bob Surratt, standing in front of the McRib. And the McRib is coming back. All I can say about the McRib, I mean, it was better than the McDLT. That somebody tweeted to me, it looks like a McBurst appendix with a pickle. I think that's an old line, but yeah.
Have you ever had one?
Yeah, and we talked about Olive Garden last week, how my tastes have become more refined, whatever, over the years. I used to, you could throw a sauce on anything and I would eat it, but I think I had a McRib 1 or 2 years ago, and yeah, it is just in time for Hanukah, Chris. But I tried it in recent years, and it just tastes so bad. Maybe when I found out that part of the material is made from couch cushions. Is that true? That there's couch cushion in there? I don't want to slander the McRib.
Those fake bones always kind of creep.
Well, that's what I think the fake bones are. I think I'm not sure. Maybe that's a myth. Again, I don't want to slander the McRib. But because it tastes bad on its own, it doesn't need help from me.
I have never had. I've had one McRib, and I did not get the craze. I did not. I mean, was it neither here nor there for you? Or it was okay. It was okay. It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I can't wait till this comes back. I got a buddy that when they come back, we'll have one every single day. One a day.
Oh, that's unbelievable. All right,
for the entire. He's single, of course.
He's giving me the ingredients right now. You want to scroll back down? Oh, yeah.
Cricket flour? Is it cricket flour?
What does it have? Pork shoulder? Does it actually have that in there?
Yeah.
No, I want to read the part where it says, polyethylene or something like that. Wait, he's scrolling up and I'm not seeing. Well, dextrose is fine. I don't.
On the same topic, did you see that Bolingbrook, right in our listening area, is maybe a little outside, is going to get the new McDonald's Cosmics.
Yeah, I didn't know it was going to be in Bolingbrook, but yeah, that's kind of like the poor man's Starbucks, right? Right.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was going to be like a huge vending machine. I thought it was going to be the first fully automated McDonald's, but no, it's not. It's like a Starbucks. It's half the menu is all beverages, different. Then they have like two sandwich items and a lot of snacks.
And I mean, is it going to be a bargain, or is this going to be actually semi-upscale?
Well, the one of the sandwiches has avocado on it, so you know who they're going for.
Oh yeah,
there's
an avocado toast sandwich. Yeah, right.
You know the market they're going for there. So
yeah,
it's apparently Cosmic was a character in the 80s. It was a robot that visited Ronald and the Grimace and the Hamburglar.
So tough for me to just memorize the Lord of the Rings characters. I just didn't get into the McDonald's oeuvre as
I
much
looked
as
it
I
up.
should have.
I looked it up today because I got in an argument. So
Yeah,
on
I mean,
on
I know
social
of
media.
the Hamburglar. I'm really not, sure of it.
Robble, he's back. I don't know if you noticed that the Hamburglar's been back in the commercials.
I've been remiss. I haven't noticed.
Well,
that.
apparently McDonald's has like upgraded all their recipes, and they've
okay.
upgraded
Right,
them
the
so
Big
much.
Mac. Yeah.
Right, and they've upgraded them so much that the Hamburglar has come out of retirement to eat them. So there's Robble ads all
it's
over.
actually worth it to him to come out and actually eat this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. He couldn't 2 years ago. He couldn't stand it anymore.
Right. Even he had walked away.
No reason to violate parole for that junk.
From McDonald's. Hey, did you see the picture of Kyle Rittenhouse recently with Tucker Carlson? And John Podhoretz tweeted over it. He didn't know that the big boy had come back. Kyle Rittenhouse actually looks like he's got the hair flip.
It's a Photoshop.
And he's got a gut going on him too.
It's a Photoshop.
But,
it's a Photoshop. If you
that's a Photoshop.
Yeah, if you look at the row of
buttons, it looked like it was fake. Okay.
Yeah.
Tim, I keep my record intact. I have fallen for something for the third week in a row. But John Podhoretz apparently fell for it too. That's it didn't look like he could possibly have a gut like that. And the hair flip. So it was a big boy thing. Okay.
I learned something very interesting. I went to a sign museum in Cincinnati, Ohio, and they had one of the original big boys there at the sign museum. And they pointed out, and I wasn't aware of that, the original big boy had a slingshot in his back pocket.
Really?
Yeah, that they later took out because they didn't want Big Boy to be kind of like because he was kind of like a Dennis the Menace character in the early days.
Right.
And they thought that the slingshot, well, that's just we don't want, so they took
out
the
you poke your eye out with that thing,
so it's kind of interesting. It's comparing that to Kyle Rittenhouse.
Right, exactly. Well, if you bring the slingshot across state lines, we're going to send you up the river for life. The interesting thing, the Big Boy, I remember eating Big Boys like in the late 1960s, and it was a precursor to the Big Mac, and they never really made it like Ray Kroc did with the Big Mac, because it was a really good double-decker kind of sandwich with Thousand Island dressing on it, very similar to what the Big Mac became. Reminds me a little bit of when Steve Jobs and Bill Gates just took what IBM had created and stole the mouse and made billions off it. I'm not saying that Ray Kroc got the idea from Big Boy, but he had to be aware.
Oh, he absolutely did. I mean, the Big Mac, Big Boy. I mean, come on. That's Norman Lear. That's before Norman Lear.
I mean, check Ronald McDonald and see if he's got a slingshot in the back of his if he pulls that out along with some flowers and spritzing you. All right, Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap.
And that's the Weekly Wrap on radio and television. Follow Bruce at Bruce Wolf Shy on Twitter and Tim at timslagle.com. The Weekly Wrap with Bruce Wolf, a CP Pods production.